Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of Bob Boom. I'm your host Bob, and if you've seen any ads on my channel, then YouTube put them there, because I sure as hell don't want to give Google my money. Anyway, I'm sorry I haven't uploaded in quite some time, and I know the 12 of you that are still subscribed and even listening to any of this is probably wondering what I've been up to, but I'll get to that later. This whole episode, or mini episode, or radio episode, whatever you want to call it, is about the necessity of piracy. Now, on my channel before Windows 10 came out, I discussed the importance of piracy and why it's actually important that the OS, because it was rumored at the time, the OS would actually lock you out of playing games that were considered pirated. So, where do I begin? There's this game called Genesis Alpha 1. It isn't even early access. It's not buyable on Steam by any means, and it comes out in the year 2020, and I was able to play it. Now, it's been on my watch list for over a year now, and I was just waiting for updates, some kind of release for it, and eventually I saw a torrent for it. I was like, you're shitting me. Like, there's an actual torrent for this. Okay. Let me give it a shot. Let me see, alright? Let me see if there's like a virus or something, it's kind of fishy. But let me give it a shot. I downloaded the torrent, and believe it or not, it was the full game as it was to this point. Like, it's still early access. It's still unfinished and still needs work, but it was good. The game itself was actually good. Like, it confirmed what I wanted to know about the game, and I even learned more from it. I know now 100% without a doubt that when that game comes out, I am going to be buying it. It is important to realize that I am going to be buying it not out of a moral obligation, more out of a I want your product to get better. I enjoy your product. Here is the money for said product. That is fair trade. If you were to just keep pirating games, this is where people keep thinking the problem with pirating games comes from. If you were to pirate a game and then you never pay for it, and say you spent like 60 something hours into it and stuff like that, it's not necessarily you just being a piece of shit because of some kind of like moral obligation, like I was saying earlier. That dev needs that money to create more updates. That dev needs that money to pay for the amount of time that they poured into making that game. That dev needs that money in order to even make sequels, and sequels are very important. If you like the game enough to actually put so many hours into it and didn't give them any kind of revenue for it, well, then the dev's probably going to die out. Like, the dev is actually losing. Now, are they directly losing money? Like, this whole argument where it's like, oh, well, dude owns a bike shop and you didn't necessarily steal the bike, but you made a copy of the bike and blah, 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 blah. All of these arguments are completely invalid. They spent the time to get that bike to that shop. They made sure to spend the money to get that bike to that shop. You are using a product that is provided by them, taken from them in a context. It is. You're taking a copy from them. Sure, it is now your own copy, but someone took the time to develop that bike. Someone took the time to research and make that, let's just say hypothetically, the best bike that was ever in the bike shop possible, right? You can't just take a copy of that and then just expect them to keep making newer and better bikes all because you enjoy it. No, you need to give them money for it, because that money goes into development. That money goes into more time towards making better and stronger bikes. Same thing with video games. So the reason why I tend to pirate a lot of these games first there's no demos anymore. There's absolutely 100% no demos anymore. And it saddens me because a demo is usually that taste, you know, like it ends in a cliffhanger somewheres, or maybe maybe you just beat the first boss and it's like, hey, if you want to continue playing. I've seen that done before. You can play the entire first level of the whole game. The whole thing's completely open and expansive. Everything's collectible and stuff. And you beat the first boss, and maybe your save file carries over to a full copy. Like that's genius ways. That is the best way of doing a demo. Giving someone a taste of it and letting them continue from where they went. Doing a demo to where they lock out a whole bunch of shit. Doing a demo to where it cuts off right before the first boss. That's just dumb. Let me see how good your boss fights are. At least the first one. Don't cut off your demo before the first boss fight. Then you're just like, oh, cool, you just ran around in an area, and now all of a sudden you get like a cutscene, like an intro cutscene for the big bad guy, and then it's like, oh, well, if you want to fight the boss, you need to buy it. No, fuck you. Let me fight the boss. Let me see how good that shit is, because that's the good shit. That's the shit you want injected directly into your veins, right? Let me see how good the boss fight is, and then we continue. There's so many positives to Piracy. In fact, when I shared some of that Genesis Alpha 1 gameplay to my Twitter, now it's not my Baboom Twitter. I have a whole nother Twitter account that I shitpost on and everything else. But when I shared video footage of it, there were about 25 people, like all liking it, keeping their eyes on it, watching updates for it. People never even heard of it. They liked it. They actually saw my gameplay. Now, am I saying that this Piracy is good for that shout out culture? Like I should get a free game just because I have some kind of level of clout or anything like that? No. But there were people out there that never even heard of the game. It's not even out yet. I was able to pirate it, confirm that it was good, show off gameplay for it, and now there are more people that are excited for it. Piracy does have that effect where people who get that game for free, they data mine the shit. They go through every single aspect of that game just to see if it's worth it. And people like myself will let you know, hey, look, this is actually worth it, you know, or this is a serious waste of time. There's one game out there that's actually on Steam, which I highly suggest buying, called HellSign. It is a paranormal third-person shooter where you kind of go around in these randomly generated mansions and you find clues and evidence towards what type of creature is haunting it, and you pretty much exorcise it with guns. Lots and lots of bullets. So very Van Helsing like you go to like the equipment shop and you get like audio recorders and different flashlights and bulletproof vests and all this other kind of stuff. It's pretty crazy. It's only $15, and I was showing off some video footage for it, and tons of people were really interested in it because they saw some gameplay footage of me like fighting a queen spider who like explodes into baby spiders, and then like the ground like would have like arms and blood and gurgling noises, like arms and shit were coming out of the ground wanting to grab me, and it was sapping away my HP and stuff. People were really interested in it because it looked different, right? Now, I could have just pirated that game. I mean, it's only $15, but it was such a neat aspect to me. It was so unique in the way that it handled the horror paranormal genre that I wanted to give them money because I want to see more development. I want to see patches. I want to see more content. And that's why I gave them my money. That's why I bought the game. I want to see it more. Now, I can't currently buy Genesis Alpha 1, but when it comes out on Steam, I guarantee you I will. So, there's that. Piracy does have advantages There's no demos anymore. There is an easier way to expose whether or not it's a bad or good game. Oh, here you go. Here's Piracy for another thing. Doom Annihilation. It is a movie that came out that is based on the Doom video game universe, and the movie is absolute trash. It is garbage. Do not touch it. Do not buy it. If you do want to watch it, I would suggest pirating it, but honestly, it's a $3 or less movie at most. It is bad. It is excessively bad. I mean, you have the 2005 Doom movie with The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, right? And people thought that was bad. And of course, on some level, it is definitely bad. It is a corny action flick, but it had some production value to it, right? There was the BFG scene where he blasts a hole in the ceiling and like it was all like melting away and stuff. It's like, all right, that looks kind of like a BFG a little bit. It was a big fucking gun. The BFG and everything else in this newer film, Doom Annihilation, was sad. Absolutely sad. They got a giant box with a trigger system on it, and they spray painted the whole thing silver. Like, not even silver, more like a dull gray. And they're like, wow, it's the BFG. And there was even a time in the movie where the main character got dumped in some water while they had the BFG on them, and then they just like fling it up, and you could tell like the whole thing just looks like a corny plastic prop. I'm not saying that you're gonna make a real BFG, but like everything about that movie was excessively cheap. I mean, I'm not saying it needed to be AAA value or anything like that to be good, but it's obvious that what they were making, they didn't care. Like, none of these guys cared about Doom. They made a few references like, oh, hey, the lead sergeant guy uses a double barrel shotgun. Haha. Hey, guys, look, we have the imp. Hey, guys, we mentioned UAC, but everything else in there is just bad. Like, I can't... You ever seen those really corny sci-fi TV shows where it's really obvious, really obvious that it's green screened or blue screened, and you're like, wow, that really takes away from the show a little bit because it just looks so bad, but I'll still kind of like watch the rest just to see how bad it is. It's like that, right? You don't really want to pay for something like that, but I could go grab a drink during a commercial break or something. That's no big deal. Like, all right, you need your commercials. I'll leave the room and come back and whatever. It's a corny movie. Get on your phone or whatever. It was like that. It was not keeping me entranced at all. There was even a guy that said it was better than the Doom 2005 movie. And he is a massive outlier. I mean, absolutely massive. Because not a single person on the Doom Annihilation hashtag other than him likes the film. It is bad. Thank you that I pirated it. I did watch the film entirely. So there probably is some warrant. Some argument that I should at least give them $1 for it. But when the movie is $1, tell you what. I'll give them $1. And I'll keep a copy of the movie just as an example to never make movies like that again. How's that sound? Is that good? There was even someone who shared a rumor with me that they made that movie just to still hold on to the copyright. The way copyright works is it expires after a certain amount of time. So, eventually what happens is once it expires and no one still owns the copyright rights for that license, anyone can make content for it, right? They can't sue anyone. It's like, hey, look, you made a Doom thing, but we made a Doom movie 20 years ago. You can't make a Doom movie. Well, if they keep occasionally making a Doom movie, then the copyright is renewed, and they can keep their firm grasp on the Doom license for movies. So these guys pretty much made a Doom movie so they don't lose the copyright, and they didn't care how shitty it was. And I believe that. I 100% actually believe that. Based on how bad this movie was, I 100% believe that these people were just making a Doom reference movie to hold on to the copyright for some future relation down the line somewheres. Scum. Absolute scummy thing, if that is 100% true. Wow. So there's not really much else to talk about. Sure, you have tons of video game news and things like that to go over. I just don't know where to begin. They've been trying to push that Last of Us 2 has stealth mechanics in it. Like, that's something new. Wow, the dogs can actually sniff you out. Whoa, no way, man. Wow. Cool beans. You can actually jump in Last of Us 2. Did you know that? Wow, that's a whole new feature. Yeah, they tried pushing that in a AAA journalist degree. I think it was GameSpot that actually did that one. Rock, Paper, Scissors maybe also did something like that as well. You know how it is. One person pushes it, then all of them pushes it, because probably there's some type of paycheck that cleared. That's just game journalism for you. I don't trust that crap anymore. So, jeez. What is it? Sunday? Monday? It's Monday. Oh, God, it's Monday. I hope you have a fantastic week. I hope it doesn't take a month for new content to come out. I really hope you learned something today. If it wasn't for Piracy, I don't know where I would be at. One of the first games I ever pirated was Crysis. That took a week to download. A week. I hope you all have a good week. And if you like a game, buy it.